So this class isn't just about the workbench. All of your really good classes are only partly about the project. They're also about the techniques and the methods that you go through. It's not going to snap together like Legos, but it's not going to be like starting from scratch. I've tried to distill the process of making this bench down into sort of a series of exercises that allow you to gain some skills and some confidence with hand tools, and then have you end up with a workbench that'll last for generations. Let's talk more about what the kit will look like and what it'll look like, more importantly, when it's done. So here I have a bench that is basically what the completed bench would look like with some small upgrades. This bench has cherry accents added to it. And you can see the cherry end cap there, as well as the dog block. And cherry leg vise chop. So when you receive this bench kit, it'll come with the entire set of hardware that you need. The M series bench crafted glide M leg vise and tail vise. And it'll have the barrel bolts there to connect the two ends of the base together after you get those assembled. The legs will look something like this. This is basically a nearly fully prepped leg. The mortises are going to be cut. The holes for the draw bores are going to be drilled. And most importantly, the work for the leg vise installation will all be done. So basically, you'll just need to drill some pilot holes and run some screws in, and the leg vise should work perfectly right, pretty much out of the box. As far as the tops go, all of the cavity work for the vise will basically be done. There will be some rounded corners here and underneath as well that you'll need to square up. But again, the idea is to take all the trouble out of the vise installation. It's not a job that you're going to have to do again. And I don't feel like it's a really valuable learning experience for the students. The one thing that I had to do for the students, but that I wish I could have taught, is the Condor Tails on the end of the end cap. In order to keep the vise installation fast and simple, I had to basically do this bit of work for you. But I'll make a video on how to cut them by hand, how to cut them, the way we would normally do it here if you were taking a class here in the shop. And you'll have those tricks up your sleeve for, the next time you need to do some large dovetails, that sort of thing. The short rails here that will connect the front leg to the back leg, the tenons will be cut on those rails, but they're not going to fit. You're going to have to fit them to get them to go into the end assemblies. And that's one of the lessons that this class will teach, is how to fit a tenon so that it can be flush at the top, or that it can be equally spaced in an opening. The long rails here are basically just going to be stock. You're going to have to check them for true, make sure they don't have any wind. You're going to have to square the joinery faces up so that you can do a layout. And then you're going to have to cut and fit the tenons to the mortises that will go in here. So that is a really great exercise in laying out and cutting some joinery. The leg vise chop will basically be rough shaped, and again, all the vise cavities, all the holes will be drilled. So you'll need to basically clean that up. So that, that'll provide a little bit of learning on how to use a block plane or a spoke shave to clean up an outside curve like this, as well as using rasps and scrapers to clean up an inside corner like that. So, we'll go through a whole demo on how to sharpen a scraper, how to set it up, and how to use it in the course of doing that little job. If you decide that you want to put a sliding dead man in, I can provide the materials for that, and there will be a video on how to do that, basically completely by hand. So that'll be starting from rough stock, working your way down to a nice finished board, and then cutting the tongue at the top and the bird's mouth at the bottom to install all the way through to installation. And then also kind of my theory on hole layout, that sort of thing. I'll also be selling glued up blanks for the dead man for these. So that's one of those things that, gosh, it's a kind of a pain in the butt to do, and of course I'll make a video on how to do it so you can see how it's done, and maybe I'll get that thing up before the class starts, because you may see that and decide that it's not worth the trouble to start completely from scratch, but that'll be up to you as well. And the shelf, if you decide to put a shelf in, that's not really something you need to go to me for. I'll certainly make a little video on prepping the boards and notching them around the legs to get it to sit in place, but if you have access to 4/4 stock, then you can certainly make a shelf for this bench and have it done in an afternoon. So that's a look at the kit and what's included, and if you have any more questions, put them down in the comments and let me know what you think. And I'm really looking forward to getting this class going in the winter. And I wish I had time to get the kits together sooner, because I would love to start this thing now if I could. So hopefully we will see you in class.